There are many aspects of Thomas and Friends that make it a good show, and one that I'm really drawn to is the use of characters. Most episodes have plots that show certain characters responding to certain situations, but the ones that I like more are when two characters interact and make a cool story. A fine example is Thomas and Arthur's friendship that I glossed over in a previous video, and there have been loads more of these unique dynamics throughout the show. Even then, there were still some that weren't used to their full potential in my eyes, or sometimes weren't used at all. Today, I'm going to talk about 7 interesting character interactions that I think should have been made. The first one is Neville and Dennis. Both of their debut episodes are very nostalgic for me, and it's a shame they never got expanded upon. I think it would be fascinating to see them interact. The way I see it, Neville would probably be wary of Dennis due to his experience with other Diesels, and Dennis would try to get Neville to do his work for him. Neville would do so, thinking Dennis is a friendlier Diesel, but would be very upset at the revelation of Dennis just using him. However, he gives Dennis a second chance, but is still careful about who to trust. A pairing I thought of while making this video was Bulgy and George. Both of these guys are very anti-rail, and they go through different ways of abolishing rail transportation. I thought up a funny episode where Bulgy tricks some passengers into riding him instead of trains, but is stopped by George, who is coincidentally doing roadworks and secretly trying to damage a railway track. George's plans are foiled when Bulgy's driver inspects the road and finds out what he's doing, and reports him and shuts it down. However, Bulgy punctures a tyre when attempting to cross the unfinished road, leading to the passengers choosing to use rail transport. While we're on the topic of George, I think another good character to pair him with is Madge, one of the better hit newbies. Both are road vehicles on the Skarloey Railway, and while George is antagonistic towards the engines, Madge is very kind to them and cares for them as though they're her children. I can picture an episode of Madge trying to prevent George's schemes to end the railway's existence, and the truckload of potential that could come with it. James and Molly are sometimes shipped together, and even though I don't know why, I think they have some potential together. They have some similarities and differences. They both want to have special jobs and are upset at working with simple trucks. On the other hand, Molly is quiet and humble about her work, while James is very extroverted and wants everyone to see him shine. I think Thomas's New Trucks, a pretty mediocre episode in my opinion, would have been more passable if Molly replaced Thomas. Molly would be envious of James showing off, and she would try to be just like him, only to find out that he isn't as good as he says, and that working hard and being really useful is much better. Rocky and Harvey is a really interesting dynamic that Brendan Productions excelled at in their rewrite of Edward Strikes Out. It's a really good rewrite that's worth watching, and I always wondered how Harvey felt when Rocky arrived on Sodor, and the idea of him feeling worried and being replaced and Edward trying to help him is a great plot, which was so much better than the awful episode that Miller wrote. I would genuinely enjoy an episode where Duke meets Rusty after his release from the shed. The story would show him seeing Sir Handel and Peter Sam's friendship with the little Diesel. Duke would probably have trouble getting used to the modern locomotive and grow cynical about Rusty's influence on his 2 young friends, but later he would learn to accept Rusty as a new friend. I think that's a neat plot that serves as both an anti-racism message and shows a flawed side to Duke. One of the most underused characters in the franchise, in my opinion, is Captain. He's definitely the best character introduced in Misty Island Rescue, and he's the only rescue boat on Sodor, and there could be a load of potential with that alone. If I were to pair him with anyone, it would be Duck. In Season 3's All at Sea, Duck wants to see what's beyond the horizon, but never does. Captain thinks that the sea is just a large space of water, and is surprised that a tank engine, who can travel around the countrysides and villages, wants to see what the sea has to offer. When he breaks down and Duck takes him to the works, Captain is amazed by Sodor's scenery, making Duck feel good about being an engine. Those are just some of my own character pairings, and I think it's only fair that I include some pairings that fans who commented on my most recent community post have given me. Trench Moose had the cool idea to pair universally hated Billy Two Teeth with someone like Duck or Fergus, who are strict authority figures. That's a fascinating concept, considering how angry Billy gets when someone tells him to do simple things, and how stern Fergus is when someone does it wrong. I've thought of this myself sometimes, even though I like Billy's interaction with Thomas the most, as Thomas was very similar to Billy in Season 1, and Billy's debut shows how much he's matured in 11 seasons. TobyFan9198 suggested that Duck should interact with Elizabeth the vintage lorry. I like that idea a lot. I would really enjoy a story of Duck banging on about the Great Western Way to Elizabeth after hearing one of her smart arse comments. I also remember an appearance from Duck in the Navigation song, smiling at Elizabeth for clearing the line. I don't know why I said that, but it's a nice detail. Peter Sam the Narrow Gauge Engine stated that Bill and Ben never interacted with the Duck, and I agree. I'm surprised the writers of the classic era never did that. I feel it would go the same way as Duck's interaction with Elizabeth, but Bill and Ben would be much more spiteful than her. And that's all for today. I'll probably make another video focusing on this topic, as there are tons of unique dynamics that come to my head each day. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy your life. The next video will hopefully be my Season 2 ranking, unless I come up with another video idea or if my channel fails. See you all then.